Greetings and salutations! Hello and welcome back! Okay guys, you already know who I am, so welcome. And to my new subscribers, welcome. First makeup video of 2022 and it's already March. In fact, my goodness, it's already March. So, what are we gonna do today? We are gonna do...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So, Katherine Howard, the 5th Queen of England, or wife of the King Henry VIII. So, 6 wives. So, divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. Katherine is number 5 and his youngest queen, a teenage queen, no less. Oh yeah, and 6. So 6 is a musical based on Henry VIII, his 6 wives. It's on Broadway and West End as well. 2 English writers, I believe they're English writers who came up with the musical early 20s, and now it's a massive hit. 6. I haven't seen it yet. I want to save it for my birthday because Vincent is still not convinced that we should see it, but I think I'm gonna use that card on my birthday and say, okay, now I want to go and see 6. But it is on YouTube. Some Kind Soul went there and recorded it, and yeah, they put it on YouTube, and so you can watch it there. And so what is this here? So Katherine Howard, as mentioned, his 5th wife, and like, look at this dress I got on Etsy. It's like, it's so soft. The top is from Shein, but yeah, this is like, well, because the costumes are amazing on the show, and so it's fun how somebody made this on Etsy. So I'll put the information in the description box in case you're interested, because my goodness, is this dress cute. So this is like a poor man's version of Katherine, her Broadway outfit. So on Broadway, Katherine is played by Samantha Pauly, and she has done Instagram lives usually once a week before she goes on. And so this makeup is inspired by the makeup she does for Broadway. So I just kind of like took a few elements from there, and then now this is my own spin on Katherine's makeup basically. And the first time, I knew about the wives, the 6 wives, but not in detail. Like everybody says, everybody just cares about Anne Boleyn, quite rightfully so. But so the first time I heard about 6 was through this animated music video that somebody made. It's a Disney, non-Disney sort of music video. It's funny because yeah, Hollywood from Cool World is Katherine. Anyway, so I'll put it in the description box so you can take a look. But that was my first introduction to 6. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so I primed my eyes with the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, of course. And the first palette that we're gonna take is the Huda Beauty, the pink neon palette. It's broken, and gonna take this, you can see the light, so gonna take this lavender. So Howard, so we don't know that much about her. The beginning of her life, and even her birthday is kinda unknown. So what historians have agreed is that she was born between 1518 and 1524. So basically, yeah, we don't know her birthday, but that's kind of the gist of it. So in Henry VIII's, that time, the Tudor time period, women's birthdays unfortunately were not recorded most of the time. And also we don't know that much about her childhood. Her mother died when Katherine was young. I believe she was between 8 and 10 when her mother died. And then her father remarried, and then Katherine was sent to her step-grandmother's place, step-grandmother's palace, and she was the Duchess of Norfolk. And her palace was kind of like a boarding school for young people and especially young women. And the funny thing is that if you think about boarding schools, and especially British boarding schools, we know that they tend to be very tough, you know, very conservative, stuff like that. So the Duchess of Norfolk, not at all. So this boarding school was anything but strict. So Katherine and her ladies, the other ladies, young ladies there, they would basically apparently party the whole night through and just eat oranges and like all these exotic things and just basically have fun, like do what teenagers do. And so there were young men there as well, and that's where we get Katherine's first, I guess, lover, Henry Mannix, who was her music teacher.
Broad, dark, sexy Mannix taught me all about dynamics.
The thing is, because of these historical things and like what was allowed back then and what is like a huge red flag in our day and age, the fact that Henry Mannix was in his early 20s and Katherine apparently allegedly was 13 when they got involved. So at that time, that obviously that wouldn't be a big deal. So it's like, what else is new? But and again, historians are divided with this with Henry Mannix. Some historians say that he basically groomed her and then defiled her. And some historians say that Katherine was very much in control of that situation because she did not sleep with him. Like she might have potentially done other things. Okay, I'll say my opinions later, what I think about this. But yeah, you can see that this was a little bit like how should I put it, because we need to be so how politically correct nowadays, don't we? But anyway, so how I would like to see this is that it was a girl, it was a crush basically. So it was a young girl who is 13, just entering teenagehood, and then this guy is paying attention to her and giving her all these compliments most likely, and what else, because let's not forget, Katherine was higher, like her status was much higher than Henry Mannix's. He was a music teacher. Okay, and she was the step grandchild of the Duchess of Norfolk, so she had way more status than he did. So obviously, I get that people would say that she was in control of the situation. If she didn't want to entertain him, there was nothing he could do. But at the same time, I had being a 13-year-old girl. I remember what it was like when you start paying attention to boys and they start noticing you as well, regardless the age, unless they were super old like Henry VIII eventually. Anyway, my point is, I do remember that. So when historians say these things that you know, was Katherine in control or was she groomed? We don't know.
Playtime's over. The only thing you wanna do is.
So the next color is gonna come from the Jeffree Star. This is the Pink Religion palette. And we are gonna take, what was that? Pink Fever. So right here, Pink Fever, and it's gonna go like really in the crease, because this one really went up to the brow bone almost. So now this one is gonna be in the crease. And as mentioned, there was another guy after Henry Mannix. And that guy was Francis Derham. And he was the secretary of Katherine's step-grandmother. And it got, like, apparently, so if Katherine did not do the deed with Henry Mannix, she most, like, really, like, she did it with Francis Derham. And it got so serious that they actually started calling each other husband and wife. And just like Henry Mannix, Francis Derham was also very jealous. And eventually he left for, I believe it was Ireland. Yeah, Ireland. Northern Ireland. Ireland eventually. Because Katherine refused to marry him. And obviously the Howards, her family, they always like wanted a much better much better groom for their Katherine than just a simple secretary. But yeah, apparently this was a very, very serious relationship. I mean, not as serious that, you know, they would get married, but serious enough. And eventually this is gonna come back and haunt the both of them. this relationship.
Playtime's over. The only thing you wanna do is.
And then Katherine gets invited to go to court because Anna of Cleves, who is going to be Henry VIII's fourth wife, is gonna arrive from Germany, and Katherine is invited to be her maid of honor and also a lady in waiting in court. So it's the again Huda, and this is the Mercury in retrograde, and we are gonna take the pink one here and it's gonna go under the lid. So now Katherine is gonna go to court, and what happens is that she gets there before Anna, and Henry VIII takes just really fancies her from the beginning. Obviously she's a young girl, like the youngest is 16, so like a bouncy, happy, attractive teenager. So Henry VIII, who is almost 50, obviously he fancies her a lot. And then when Anna of Cleves gets to England, people, like not some historians, well, there is this assumption that okay, I'll put this down. Well, basically, so what some of you may have heard of Anna of Cleves is that she was very ugly, that the second Henry VIII saw her, he called her a Flanders mare and said, I'm not gonna marry her. That Holbein, who did that famous portrait of her, basically gilded the lily a lot, so lied through this portrait. So like, yeah, the profile picture didn't match the real face basically, but that is not true. So apparently, so they had this game in court where Henry would dress up as somebody else, basically he would be in costume in a way, and Anna was brought over, and she was staying at this castle on her way to Hampton Court, I believe. And Henry and his court, basically they came in there, and Henry was in disguise, and he's just kind of like trying to seduce Anna, and Anna is like, whoa, like stop, like I'm gonna be married to the king, like stop, like how dare you, sir. She didn't know that this was a game. All of the English court, everybody knew about this. It was a game. Nobody told Anna. So because of this, Henry was greatly offended, because I mean, Anna was also very young. So she should have realized that this man is her true love and all that romantic nonsense, you know. Henry was greatly offended, yeah. And then he said that she's too ugly, she's too fat, blah, blah, I'm not gonna marry her. So this is the real story. So apparently Anna was very attractive, because so what basically happens is that Henry has to marry Anna. They are married about 6 months, and at this time he's courting Katherine, and then he decides to divorce Anna and marry Katherine instead. And Anna is very smart, so she takes the severage package that Henry offers her. So she gets Richmond Palace, she gets 2 other palaces, she gets a huge allowance, yearly, monthly allowance, and Henry's like, as long as you basically fuck off, you can have everything you want. I'll take care of you. Just please be gone, because I want to marry this teenager. So Anna was very smart. Britney, who is on Broadway, not Britney Spears, but Britney Mac, who plays Anna of Cleves here on Broadway, her Get Down is amazing. I love that, honestly. Just look it up. It's fantastic. Like that song, I love to sing that song. But basically this is what happened, and now Katherine is the queen.
So we got married.
There I'm gonna add more because I want this to be very bright. So I'm gonna take more of that same pink, but this time with a brush. So she's now the queen. Obviously that is a huge honor. She's a teenage queen, huge honor, Queen of England. And yeah, apparently, obviously, life with Henry wasn't easy because of his Henry was close to 50, and they said that he was smelly, he was fat, he had a horrible temper, wasn't pleasant, I'm sure. But yeah, that was her life basically. So obviously she could enjoy the French fashion, the court life, the status that she had. She loved dogs, she loved dancing, and she and Anna, so there was no bad blood between them. Anna was invited, that was what I meant to say. Anna was invited to court. So basically, so when Henry said that Anna was ugly, it's like it couldn't have been further from the truth, because the court was supposed to be like very like host attractive people. So if Anna was truly ugly, Henry would never have invited her back to court. So which means that yeah, those like the horrible things he said about her were not true. So there were instances where Anna was invited back to court, and she would dance with Katherine, and they would just be like very sisterly and almost like be best friends and stuff like that, just having a good time. So that was Katherine's life. However, then her third lover that we know of, he came onto the stage.
But Thomas is there to lend a helping hand. So sweet, make sure that I'm okay. And we hang out loads when the king's away.
Okay, so back to the pink religion, Jeffree's world. Yes, I'm gonna put it under the eyes. And oh boy, this last guy, Thomas Culpepper. It's kind of unfortunate how that song it just shows Thomas in a very nice and good light, that he just literally wanted to be her friend, and then eventually caused her to have this relationship or something. Apparently, Katherine was very much in love with him, and he was very close to the king, so they were like buddies, and he was a courtier in the court, so he had status in the court, and especially being the king's friend, that was a big deal. And Katherine ended up having liaisons with him, basically had an affair with him. And like my problem with him, because we don't really know, like, did he coerce her into this relationship, or did he seduce, or what happened, or did Katherine seduce him, what happened, we don't know that. Then I'm just gonna soften the hard edges with a Q-tip. So we don't really know who started the relationship, but my point is, after Thomas Culpepper was executed, all these like alleged accusations came about him, and one of the most horrific ones was that he raped, I guess he was a garden keeper's wife, and when a passerby came in and like challenged Culpepper, he killed them both. So the woman he raped, and then this guy who was coming in to help. So basically he's a rapist and a murderer. And this is the guy Katherine chose. Oh, and the third player in this threesome of four, whatever, so is Lady Rochford, who is a Chamberlain. So she's part of the Boleyn clan. So she was lady in waiting to Katherine. And so when the king was away, that's when Katherine would have those liaisons with Culpepper. And so Chamberlain would be there to assist Katherine to meet with Thomas Culpepper. So yeah, so Chamberlain was very much part of this I don't know, this liaison. And how Henry found out? Well, basically all these rumors started to go out, and there was a love letter apparently that Katherine wrote to Culpepper when he was away, that she wants to meet with him and stuff like that. She misses him very much. And so the Archbishop of Canterbury was informed that Katherine is having this affair. And so he doesn't have the guts to tell the king. So what he does is that he leaves a letter on Henry's seat in the chapel. So when one day Henry was gonna go and pray, he found the letter, and then he read all these accusations about Katherine. Apparently he started crying. So then I'm gonna line the eyes. This is the KVD, the tattoo liner. So at first Henry, he was very upset about these accusations, but first he didn't believe them. But they brought in Henry Mannix for questioning, and then they brought in Francis Derham, and Francis Derham, I believe both men, they were tortured, and Francis Derham especially was brutalized, and so that's when he dropped the name Thomas Culpeper. And then obviously Culpeper was brought in, and then basically all these men, they confessed that they had all these liaisons with the Queen, and they slept with her and stuff like that. And for Henry, he was like, well, with Henry Mannix and Francis Derham, this happened before he met her, and this was a time when the Queen didn't have to be a virgin, because Henry's first wife, Catherine of Aragon, wasn't a virgin, because she was already married to his brother, and then his brother died, and then he married Catherine. So she most definitely wasn't a virgin. So it wasn't like a thing that women had to be virgins when they married the King of England. So he could explain that and say, you know what, she was young, it's fine, this happened before she was married to me. But now that she was having an affair while being the Queen of England, that was not okay. So then Henry made the decision to have her beheaded. Oh my God, all these, like this, oh my God, these people. And apparently also the men, they were bragging about it. But Mannix, Francis, because Francis Derham was brought into court, and he was the secretary for Catherine for a little while, even though she didn't sleep with him because she was in love with Thomas. But still, so these men, they just couldn't keep their mouth shut. They just had to keep saying like they used to sleep with the Queen of England. Oh my God. And then what happens? Well, Henry Mannix was very lucky, because he was lucky to escape with his life. Oh, I can't talk and do this. So I'll talk and then I do this. So yes, Henry Mannix escapes with his life. And so Francis Derham, he suffers the full on, not betrayal, the whole, oh my God, what's the word? It just escaped me. I had it. Traitors, okay, let's say traitors. So the full traitors death, which means hanged, drawn and quartered. Don't Google it, it's awful. And then Thomas Culpeper, he's just beheaded because he was still very close to the king and really part of the court. So the king kind of pardons him. He's like, okay, you are not gonna do the traitors full service. We are just gonna behead you. And then Catherine also, beheaded. But the guys die before she does. And the unfortunate thing is that when Catherine is being brought to the Tower of London, they take her under the London Bridge in a boat, and that's where they like to hang all the traitors. I mean, their severed heads. So once she's going down under the London Bridge, she can see both Thomas Culpeper and Francis Derham's their heads there, and she's like, really. And people, like the historians, they don't know if this is something that Henry planned, or if it was just careless, because it had been months, and apparently they could still like identify, like she could see that, okay, that was him and that was him. Whoa. And then eventually she's prisoned in the Tower of London, and then actually with Jane Boleyn is there as well, because she was an accomplice in this whole Thomas Culpeper thing. So she will also get executed on the same day as Catherine. And like what many historians, what they find so sad is that the night before her execution, Catherine asks for the block where they're gonna, chop her head off. So she wants the block so she can practice like how to lay down properly, I guess, or how to place her head on the block properly. And so then next day, so this was 1542 when she died. And what was that? Yeah, so at this time Henry was 49 and Katherine was between 16 and 22 years old. So young. She was married to him only 18 months and then she's beheaded.
And then I was beheaded. Wow! All I want to do is take this opportunity to thank all the powerful men who got me where I am today. Thank you, New York! Good night!
Alright, so that's the look. So yeah, basically I finished it off camera. So you can see I just did a quick wing wing liner and then the mascara. And I finally got this, yeah. I talked about it in my previous videos how I wanted to get the Jeffree Star, the black, the fuck proof mascara, and it's actually really good. So like, love that. And then the lips, so this is again Jeffree Star, so this is Holy Fashion. That's it. But yeah, so that was Katherine Howard. It's like, wow. As mentioned, so from my side, like I kind of like to think that she was this young woman, young girl who liked to have fun, and obviously who was a teenager. She made mistakes. Who hasn't, basically, and especially as a ditzy teenager. I remember that period, yeah. So some historians, they called her like, I mean, so people call her like this good time girl, like some like to link her to not to harlots, prostitutes, and some do, some don't. I like to think that yeah, she was very much a good time girl, but in a sense that she liked to have good time. So she enjoyed spending time with men. She enjoyed her lovers and whatnot. She enjoyed her time as a queen, but made the fatal mistake to have an affair as the Queen of England. So yeah, very sad life is what many people like to say. I like to think that she just made the best of it. Like if she was alive when she was 16, 22, when she died very young. So I just feel like she was trying to make the best of it. Maybe it's because I saw SIIXX before I actually looked into her like properly, because usually it was just Anne Boleyn that I was interested in, and because you know she's the one basically.
No, yeah, the really famous and controversial one who people actually care about. Yeah.
But yeah, so the SIIXX was my first introduction to Katherine, and I like to think that yeah, she was just this young girl who was romantic and who just liked to be in love and stuff like that. Many people have said, historians especially, that she was a victim through and through. Fine, we don't know. So if you think that yeah, she was very much groomed by these guys and they were in control, that she was never in control, fair enough. But I want to think that being a lady of semi-high stature, that she did have some control over those men and of her destiny in a way. So yeah, I guess that's my opinion on the matter. Yeah, I just like to think that hopefully she had a good time while she was alive. So that's basically it. So yeah, if you haven't seen SIIXX, if you had enough of all those like other like very traditional musicals and you want to see something different, take a look at SIIXX, especially if you are in London or if you are here in New York, go and see it obviously. But I had so much fun doing this, and yeah, this one will be in the description box as well. But thank you so much for watching. So do please like and subscribe. So those who are new, welcome, and thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Okay, so bye, ciao.